Hey everyone, I'm the Idea Maker, and today I'm going to give my official review, non-spoiler review, on the movie Project Hail Mary. I have not done a review for a long time, so I'm just gonna dive right into this one. So, I gotta admit, this was an amazing experience. I went to go see this in the IMAX format, in the 70 millimeter format, and I was blown away. The short shows how big the theater was, and I was very impressed at how big it was. It was just exactly like the other theater that I went to the IMAX screening for Interstellar for its 10th anniversary. And I gotta admit, this was an experience. This was an amazing experience that I feel like I don't think I would ever experience again in a while. And I feel like maybe I might eat my words because that before the movie started, when I went to go see it, they had the trailer for Dune Part 3 in the theater, in the IMAX theater, and I was very, very amazed at how good it looks in the 70 millimeter format. And when I was watching the prologue to the Odyssey, oh wow, it feels epic on a scale that I've never felt before. So, those two prep me for Project Hail Mary. Now, before I talk about the movie, I actually read the book about a few days before watching this movie, and I was on a speed run. I was on a speed run to read this book from beginning to end. I read it within 3 days, and it sounds very, very excessive, but the older that I got, the faster I was able to start reading books and completing them at a shorter amount of time. So the book is about 476 pages, and I read it in about 3 days, which is actually surprising to me. I literally finished before I got to the theater, about 10 minutes before the movie started. My mom went with me because I went to go with her and a friend, and she literally had to drive me over to the theater while I was reading this book, and I was close to finishing the last few chapters of this book before I got there, and luckily I did. It was one of the best experiences I ever had in a theater. Now, how accurate is it, you might be asking? It is actually really, really close to the book. I believe that there are a few changes here and there, but what they did was that they cut some things out that I think were kind of unnecessary, that they needed to cut out. Like, there were unnecessary scenes or moments of dialogue that they needed to cut out, and they fast forward a few scenes, which actually the way they placed it, the way the writer placed it, is not disappointing. To me, it's not disappointing, and I felt like that was a really good thing on those who went and read the book first before watching the movie. And I wanted to read a book that was based on a movie before I got to see the movie version of it. It did not disappoint. I feel like it's funny because I started translating the pages to the screen, and it was done in a way where it felt like, I think it was kind of what I saw in my head. And it was such a magical feeling. And I'm saying it in those terms because it was a breathtaking experience when it showed the space scenes. It was in full 70 millimeter. The space scenes are in full 70 millimeter in case if you go see this movie in IMAX. But the other scenes are basically at the standard widescreen format. And what's cool is that you're going to see this in the IMAX version, but they do some effects in the film itself that blew me away, that I thought, oh wow, this is really feeling like we're in Ryland Grace's head. We're in his memories. We're in his thoughts. Speaking about the character Ryland Grace, Ryan Gosling did an incredible job with portraying the character, and I don't understand. I don't understand how he has not won an Oscar yet. I think this is his movie that could potentially win an Oscar. If anything, this has the potential of being a multi-Oscar nominee. And I'm gonna give based off of the categories that we have. This is what I feel like they're going to get for the Oscars, and you can quote me on this if when the results come around. You can quote me on this. I have no problem whatsoever. We're going to get it for Best Picture, Best Director. For Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, it will be a dual one. I think Best Actor for Ryan Gosling. For Best Cinematography, honestly, the cinematography on Project Hail Mary was astonishing. And it's funny because when watching this movie, despite it being the same author of The Martian, this movie felt more like Interstellar. And I say it with such high praise because of the fact that it does feel like Interstellar on so many levels that you're like, wow. And watching this in IMAX really felt like the IMAX re-release of Interstellar in the 70mm format. It was incredible. I think for cinematography for Greg Fraser, I think he's gonna get nominated for that. Best production design for best adapted screenplay. I would say for even best sound, best film editing, best score, and best visual effects. Costume design. I don't think makeup it's gonna get. I don't think it's gonna. Maybe costume design. So I'm gonna see it be nominated for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10. Even best casting I could see now. I think it's going to get either between 8 to 10 nominations. I really feel like it is. It could go for 11 or 12, depending on where they're going to put it. If they get Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. But Ryan Gosling carried this movie like never before. Like how Matthew McConaughey carried Interstellar, I feel the same way for Project Hail Mary with saying Ryan Gosling carried. And I also feel like they are going to probably get Best Visual Effects because of the fact that the movie felt like there were a lot of practical sets, there were a lot of practical props, and I feel like they filmed the movie in a way where it wasn't green screen heavy. And I really feel like production design and visual effects is going to go to Project Hail Mary. I really, really feel like it is. But, I could see the potential of Dune Part 3 getting an Oscar nomination for production design because of its vast scale and probably visual effects. But I'm wanting to talk about the Oscars next year. I was going to talk about it this year, but I'd rather talk about it next year because I feel like it's going to be more engaging this year. I'm wanting to pay attention more to the nominees than ever this year compared to last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. But especially because that last year, I congratulate Sinners for them getting 16 nominations. Congratulations to them and their wins that they got, especially for Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan. I feel like Best Actor is going to go to Ryan Gosling, but I know that Timothée Chalamet is going to probably try to go for that Oscar for Best Actor for Dune Part 3. But anyways, Ryan Gosling, the way how he portrays Ryland Grace is exactly how the book portrays him. And Ryan Gosling, I feel like maybe he read this book. I feel like he read the book before he even saw before he went and he was on set and he read the script and everything. I feel like that's what he did because he wanted to get this character right. He had the right tone. He had the right everything. It was like if writer Andy Weir, the original author of Project Hail Mary, I think like he wrote it in mind for Ryan Gosling. And I feel like Andy Weir, I was reading about his biography about he's a software engineer that lives in California and then he became a sci-fi author. It's actually very impressive, especially because I'm in that same field of being in the software engineer, just need to find that right job. And I feel like with Andy, I feel like he is an author that not only what he did with the book was not only bring it to attention that aliens are more human than humans, but I think like the concept of that we're not alone and that there's more life out there than we expect is one of those things that we want to see if that theory is true. And I think the great thing about Project Hail Mary, especially the alien character Rocky, which he is hilarious. The way how his character is portrayed in the movie is so 100% accurate to the book, to where I love the fact that they used puppetry as well as visual effects and a little bit of CGI to do touch-ups to bring him to life. And it felt like more authentic to Ryan Gosling's acting on his portion of the movie. And honestly, every movie that Rocky is in, he is doing an incredible job to, having that excitement, that frustration, that sadness, and the anger that he has throughout the movie. And I think that the puppeteers and those who were working on the visual effects and the CGI, honestly, you guys did incredible on not only bringing Rocky to life, but also making the scale of this movie feel big, but also small at the same time in such an account that I feel like what they did was that it made you feel like you were involved in this whole mission. And I feel like the way that they also made you feel the stakes being not only high, but the stakes are real. I feel like the writing was absolutely great, especially of the fact that they, in my opinion, it was a literal page to screen translation. The page to screen translation is incredible. And I think with Project Hail Mary, there's a lot of great moments that I was laughing, I was crying, I was excited about, I was rooting for Rocky, I was rooting for Dr. Grace, I was rooting for these guys the whole entire time, especially how human their interactions were, and the fact that it felt like they both needed somebody to help each other, like to support one another. And I think that what also makes this movie great, besides just the acting, is the authenticity, that the message across of how even though that we as the world, we have our stupid things that are going on at the moment when it comes to all of humanity, everybody puts their stupidity aside and they do something to try to bring a sense of peace and restoration to the planet and to each other. And that's what I really like about this. It gives that sense, but it also gives the sense of how decisions that unfortunately they get made for you, and a lot of the circumstances that Ryland Grace is put through. It's a whole bunch of that. I understand his point of I don't want to go because I'm scared, and it's a potential that the kids are using as an excuse. But the choices that are made, especially because that he is doing his best to figure things out, but he is thrown in one situation after another. You will understand why he makes the later decisions that he does later on in the movie if you haven't seen it or if you haven't read the book. If you have read the book, you understand where I'm coming from. But I just feel like with this movie, I was scared that they were going to not make the transitions between the ship and on Earth feel like authentic, seamless, or anything. But I think that they did a really good job. I feel like it wasn't distracting. It wasn't an issue. There were no problems, and I think that it just makes it feel better. I feel a lot better knowing that this movie was done at a level where it's loved. Everyone, the crew, the cast, everyone was loved. The source material was loved. And I really feel the authenticity was placed in there. The practical effects were amazing. It felt like I was watching like Interstellar and E.T. And I know that's what a lot of people have been saying. But it literally does feel like Interstellar and E.T. At points, when Rocky is not there and it's only Ryan Gosling's character, Dr. Grace, it feels like Interstellar. At other points, when he's there with Rocky, it feels like if it's E.T. When they're both together, at other points, it also feels like Interstellar. And it also kind of feels a little bit like The Martian, feels like Gravity. It feels like a couple of other movies that they deal with space exploration. I like also that the fact that in this movie, and I think this is why I think people are going to like this one a lot more than Interstellar if they have seen Interstellar but they felt confused. Interstellar is a confusing movie, I'm not going to lie to you, because when I saw it for the first time, I mostly understood it, but my family didn't like it because they didn't understand the science of it and the concept of it, and they didn't like the movie. And then later on, when I explained it to them, they understood it and they loved it. Especially because I was taking an astronomy class and I had to rewatch that movie again because there were a lot of the concepts that they were talking about. But what they did, like in The Martian, where they narrowed down the science to be understandable and quick to the point, is exactly what they did in Project Hail Mary. They did the exact same thing, but they did it to an even simpler term, which I was like, wow, this is actually very cool that a lot of people are now going to get this and they're going to understand this. I gotta say, I love this movie as one of my top favorite movies of 2026 so far. I feel like Avengers Doomsday is going to be my top favorite, but for right now, this is my number one favorite so far of 2026. And I think that box office wise, I feel like it's going to do really good. But I mean, that's what I said about Thunderbolts, but look at what happened to them, unfortunately. And I thought maybe Captain America would have done great. It didn't do as well. I thought Fantastic Four was going to literally do fantastic, but they didn't get as much either, which really surprised me. But I think with the humor, the heart, and the love for sci-fi and humanity, I think this movie's going to do pretty good. And I'm going to double check right now to see how much it's made so far. At this point right now, it's 77 million, which is amazing. That is a really good start so far. A very great start. I really hope that they go above and beyond. I really feel like they will. I think after this weekend, I bet you it's going to be on the top 10. So far, right now, Wuthering Heights is at number 2. But I think after this weekend, I think Project Hail Mary is going to go. I think it's going to be at the number 2 spot. I genuinely feel that's going to be the case. I'm excited to see where this lands. I also want to say that not only did this movie make me feel like I was living an experience, but this made me feel. It made me feel like, with my experience as trying to be an up and coming. An up and coming Lego stop motion animator and filmmaker, it made me feel like the practicality works. And I'm glad that the practicality part of this works. because there's so much you could do. And now that there literally can be so much to do, I can't wait to getting to see how X-Men is going to turn out. So I want to say to the producers, to Ryan Gosling and Amy Pascal, to Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, to author Andy Weir, and to writer Drew Goddard, and to everybody who worked on this movie over at Amazon and Sony. You guys made an incredible hit that I hope that this makes a lot of money for you guys, because I feel like you guys made a very amazing and humanizing story that it's something that we need today. It's an escapism movie, but also at the same time, it's an awareness movie about how us as a world, we need to put our differences aside. We need to stop with what we're doing. It doesn't matter about what beliefs that we have. It doesn't matter on if we're fighting over the senseless things. It doesn't matter if at this point we're just trying to start fights and pick on each other because of something that they want. This is not the time to do so. This is the time to get our acts together and think about the people. Don't think about themselves. The world is full of about 8 billion people. And if we're just only focusing on ourselves, then we're not doing anything for not just the community, but we're not doing anything to justify what God's mission is, which He is trying to save as many people as possible. And He is trying to show love for as many people as possible, because the love's not there. And it's all because of senseless stupidity. And I feel like Project Hail Mary is a warning message for us, as well as a great feel-good movie of how us as the world needs to get together more often to think about the citizens and to think about the unity and our planet. To think of that, we're the only planet realistically who has life. There are no other planets or solar systems that have life. And we think when we see stuff in a Marvel movie, in a space movie, that there's other aliens and there's other species, and we think maybe we'll invent space travel and stuff like that. But realistically, we're not going to be able to in this lifetime. And in a couple of lifetimes from now, possibly. We need to focus on the people who live here and that we care about and that we love. Because if we focus on ourselves, that's the downfall. The way how, things were downfalling for the people over in the government in Project Hail Mary, because that they were wanting to just, they were wanting to solve a problem, but they had different people working at the same task because of whatever reasons. The thing is that we cannot omit anything from each other if we want to be able to keep this planet afloat. And honestly, this movie, to me, in my opinion, is the best example, besides Interstellar and besides other space movies that require for someone to sacrifice their lives. This is to save the world. This is a great message to showing that not all of us are wanting to go that extra distance. And we're all scared, but we all want the same thing. And we will do what we can as humanly possible to make sure that everybody on Earth is equally cared for and loved and just shown that they matter. This is a great movie. I absolutely recommend it for not even for science fiction enthusiasts or novel readers. But this is a great movie in general. That it's a great way to start off the blockbuster weekend or the blockbuster season. My opinion, this is when it starts. When you have something as big and as expansive as this is when it starts. I believe it started with Project Hail Mary. I believe that it's going to keep going, and it's just going to keep getting bigger from here. So please go see this. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. a lot of care, a lot of love, a lot of humor, a lot of excitement. I do know that it does kind of feel a little slow at first, but it gradually picks up and it feels like a very worthy 2 hours and 36 minutes. It is a very worthy movie. I'm telling you that right now. And it will not get you bored at all. The dynamic between Ryan Gosling and Rocky is amazing. And the humanization in this story and in this movie is so well exhibited and it's so well shown that it's hard to not comment on it. It's hard to not even appreciate it. It's hard not to appreciate it at all. It is so much easier to just smiling and going along with the story and crying and going along with the story than just staying stone-faced. But it is one of the best movies out of this year that I feel like it brings so much. It definitely brings so much to the table. And I think that you will definitely enjoy it. I think that it is a great movie for families with older children. There are some things that they do get a little frightening at some points, but this is a PG-13 movie that it's actually not as bad as what you'd expect. There's only like maybe one drug reference and a few moments of unsettling scare imagery, but it's not that bad. It is actually very, very great. It is a very calming story about the possibility of the end of the world, which is actually surprising to say when you put those words in the same sentence, but it is a great movie. I'm guaranteeing you will not regret going. If you go in IMAX, if you have a 70 millimeter theater near you, go and see it. And even if you don't, go see it in a big screen because this was amazing. I want to see it in 40X, and if I do get that chance to see it in 40X, I will do probably a short 40X review on here, but I will see. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to my non-spoiler review on Project Hail Mary. I hope that you guys do see it, which is in theaters now. If you guys want to see more videos like this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media, I have got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, AKX, my Discord server, my TikTok account, and my Blue Sky accounts, which will all be in the links in the description below. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all. Stay safe, and we'll see you all in the next videos. Right? Bye, guys.